Revolution.
Well, hello there. So I'm back again for just like a quick introduction, right, on the next actor-based reality I'm going to feature on my channel, by Ed Sheeran, who again exposes all the frauds, all the liars, these so-called truthers who've been in the game for over 30 years and nothing but liars playing a part. In particular, this time around, David Icke, or aka Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson, who's loyal to the crown. And then, and when he's not playing those two characters, he's playing Gary Newman. Here in my car, I wear a big bra. I don't know the words to this shit song about cars. So, and this one is going to sort of like talk about speech patterns, the use of prosthetics, and how many other characters on the scene who went on to become people such as Jackass, things like that, are just basically something to do with Wall Street and banking. In this particular video I'm showing you, and how a lot of people were playing as actors, like as if they were against the system, and all along they're trying to force a narrative to have like laws enacted to move forward with the agenda of the New World Order and one world government and one world currency and so on and so forth. So it's just an introduction, so get ready for the next installment of the actor-based reality. Okay, see you later. And I'll just start, yeah, but how can David Icke be Richard Branson or Gary Newman, because Gary Newman's got dark hair and tattoos on his forearms? Well, you know, Brad Pitt had an overall body tattoos for Guy Ritchie's Snatch, and he doesn't anymore, you know. It's not permanent. Oh, and David Icke's fought Gary Newman and Richard Branson. Well, you know, prosthetic fat suit to create the appearance of difference, you know, to separate the characters of the three, who are just three in one, you know. And then don't forget there's the facial landmarks, speech patterns, how they talk, will all be covered in this video, but I just thought I'd put that in there before we move on. Okay, alright then, see you later. Oh, yes, I know, Gary Newman's got dark hair because he's either wearing wigs or he dyes it. It's as simple as that. It doesn't take a genius to work out. I mean, they show you all this in movies, you know, but, you know, just thought I'd add that too. And I mean, if you wanted to be a real clever clogs, just get Gary Newman, David Icke and Sir Richard Branson to all sit in the same room, talking to each other, touching each other, feeling each other, you know, all at once in the same room, and that would debunk that, wouldn't it? But we all know it's not going to fucking happen because they're all one person. But, you know, just thought I'd push that one in there as well. All right then, see you later.
I thought that it was a matter of real concern that planted stories intended to serve a national purpose abroad came home and were circulated here and believed here, because this would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country.
Do you have any
people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail, Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them. I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
We have quite a lot of detailed information, and we will evaluate it, and we will include any evidence of wrongdoing or any evidence of impropriety in our final report and make recommendations.
The information contained within this video is not for everyone. If you're content with the way the world is and you're happy, then don't watch this video. But for those of you who see that there's something that's just not right and question what you see and aren't finding the answers, this video is for you. Now, if you're not familiar with my previous videos, I would suggest watching them so you understand the concepts that we're going to be talking about today and how they all tie together. The difference between what we're looking at here and, let's say, the JFK assassination is we are actually right in the middle of the event. We actually know who these individuals are, and we have the opportunity to stop them if we so choose. Unlike the JFK assassination, where we are left picking up the pieces and putting the puzzle back together after the event already took place. My intentions of this video are to avoid that ending and hopefully rewrite the ending in our favor instead of allowing these individuals to manipulate and control our destiny. So it's up to you to understand this concept. It's up to you to spread this information, and then it's also up to you to act on it, if you so choose. The reason why my information is different than others is mine is based on photographic evidence, not hearsay, not some book that somebody wrote, not some rumor spread around, but photographic evidence, hard photographic evidence and video evidence of these individuals taking part in a deception that is being used to manipulate your perception of reality, and it has been going on for centuries, if not longer. You'll see the proof, you'll see who these people are, as I name them by names, not just family members as everybody's rumored in the past. These are individuals that can be held accountable for their actions, since they chose to take a part of this event, and they continue to deceive and keep it hidden from everyone else who they really are. We need everyone to stand behind this work, and even if you don't agree with the findings, at least get the findings in front of the people that can possibly question these individuals or hold them accountable and put them on the spot and make them either fess up or step down. That's the only way that we can get some things accomplished here, instead of being at each other's throats and trying to cause problems for one another. We should allow each other to promote their questions to the person and get the answers from the person.
So this is Zuccotti Park, formerly known as Liberty Square, apparently. It's very appropriate. And this is the scene where, in the early hours of this morning...
David Icke. Pretty well-known individual. Pretty high profile. So therefore, some of you are having a hard time understanding that when I outed him for being Sir Richard Branson, you had a difficult time seeing it. So I'm going to show you some solid evidence, some solid proof. Not only do they look alike, and not only do they match the facial landmarks, but they sound alike, and they have another common bond between them both that I think you'll find pretty interesting.
They would be 6, 7, 8 foot tall, and I would be able to...
Well, Steve regains the lead, but Alex wouldn't let him get away, and in frame 6 they were all square again. And remember, it's the best...
They would be 6, 7, 8 foot tall, and I would be able to...
A guy came to me at the break who'd been on...
They would be 6, 7, 8 foot tall, and...
a much more anxious America, a more fearful America, and certainly walking around New York City with the protests...
Giant corporation is that each of those companies are relatively small in their sector. They're hungry. You know, they've got people running them who've got a stake in the company, and you know, we're
the native.
So in addition to that, he is a Sir Richard Branson, so he's loyal to the Queen. Remember that, because it comes into play later on with someone else. Now, I sat back and I thought, what else could I compile together to convince people that they are the same person? And I remembered that they each have a son. So I went digging, and I found some things that I think you'll find pretty interesting. So I wondered, what does this son do? He plays in a band. How convenient. So then, of course, the next thought in my head was, are they really going to be that stupid and have him sign to Virgin Records? I mean, come on, that would just be obvious. Which, of course, they don't. But what they did do is interesting. Yeah, so they have him doing some commercials for Virgin. But that's not all. Now, remember when Branson did the space adventure, partnered up with Google, and he had the contest to see who would go into outer space? Wow, check this out.
Just happy to audition. I've got my handy dandy Martian water container. I think I'd be a great pioneer because I got a lot of drive. I'm really lonely. I don't have any friends here. This is also my eHarmony.com video. So, please.
I thought it was brilliant. It was very beautifully shot and edited, and it really sort of captured what, you know, the essence of India is sort of about. For me, I've been a few times, mainly to Goa, but I've been to Kerala once before, and it's a beautiful place with amazing culture and brilliant people, and that sort of managed to capture the essence of what it's about.
Now that's Branson's son. Look alike? Yeah, they do, because it's the same kid. So now you got some proof there that David Icke is Richard Branson. Solid proof. Now, let's go in and see some more solid proof about what he's up to.
The Occupy protesters were removed by the police, and this place is crawling with police. And that bloody whistle they bloody have, I don't know, keeps them happy, I suppose.
And make sure you take note of the fact that he's talking on a set. These people that are walking in the background, the extras, they don't have any direction of where they're going, so you can tell that they're on cue to walk in the background and they really have nothing to do. So the fact that they're looking in the cameras, it's obvious that this is a staged set, but that's besides the point. So let's go back to what we're looking at.
Let's see what's going on.
We're going to skip ahead a little bit here and just fast forward through this to the parts that we want to talk about. G20, Canada, actor. And for those of you that are going to, of course, mention the hands and not even look at the evidence here, you'll notice that he's wearing prosthetics on the back of his hands that make his knuckles look larger. You can see it clearly in some of the other shots. Thanks, Dave, for the high-resolution camera footage this time. We haven't been able to observe this in his other videos. But by holding his hand in a certain position, and of course the lens that they use, anything that gets close to the middle of the lens, with that perspective makes the hands look larger. So that combined with the prosthetic that you can see attached to the back, and makes his knuckles look thicker and fingers look out of place. You can effectively create that arthritis, so he says.
Disgusting history has cost the lives of hundreds of millions, if not billions of people, because of the effect the decisions and the gambling and the manipulation and the corruption in this place has had on the lives of some of the poorest people on planet Earth. No wonder people are sick of it.
Ask Dave if he accepts credit cards on his video sales. Hypocrite. Of course he does. So he supports the banking system as much as anybody else. So read through his bullshit. Now you know he's fake. But let's see who he's actually associated with now, since you know that he's Branson. And you're going to see some individuals in this video that are family members, and you'll get a better understanding of who Sir Richard Branson really is.
You were here from what? September 17th?
Yeah, I got here the very first night.
What made you come to start with?
Now listen to how she speaks, the pattern of her voice, and what she's actually saying. And remember an individual that we've already exposed during the 9/11 Pentagon footage. See if you can't figure it out.
Just the system is so screwed up. I don't even know where to start. You know, there's so many issues.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to come here to try to make a change somehow.
At least making a statement that we're not having it, yeah, or that we know that the system is what it is.
Right, exactly.
That's the start, isn't it?
Yes.
So what's it been like being here through this period?
Things changed so much. In the beginning, we were a small group. I think we were about 60 people the first night.
Right.
And we made it through the first couple nights. We stayed awake all night, so we were up for days because we weren't sure what was going to happen.
The alert sign, it went in the new wedge, the old wedge. I couldn't find it, so I asked somebody with a military uniform, and he said, "Oh, this building's so safe. We don't post that." So I felt very comfortable in here. Where another,
so it didn't really look like a structure, so it didn't get kicked down. But all my neighbors always got kicked down. So we really fought for that space. And
happen in America, I guess it does. I was concerned that I was going to die, and I didn't know what to do. People were hurt around me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt guilty.
People, especially in the beginning, like the first rainstorm, we were trying to make it through that, and we were just trying to cover the computer.
If you've watched my last documentary, you'll know who Alyssa Bloomberg is. She's married to Kenny Bloomberg. Alyssa's half-sister is Jennifer, who is pictured next to her. Jennifer's brother is Tony Greenberg. So Jennifer, Tony, and Alyssa, their father is Michael Greenberg. Michael Greenberg is the son of Maurice Greenberg, the ex-CEO of AIG. Now remember Jennifer, because she's going to come into play later on in this video, and you're going to be surprised at who she also plays, and it's going to make a lot of sense when it comes to the attacks that people have been making on my work, because you're going to find out who's behind those attacks.
Needs to go. That's the thing. And if you don't understand the game, then you become manipulatable. When you know the game, and they say, pushing you to call for world government and stuff to overcome the banks, then you go, but the world government's exactly what you've been working for hundreds of years for. So,
now you heard what he just said. These people have been planning this for hundreds of years to try to get a World Bank or the one world government. They've been working hard at doing this, at collapsing the economies of major countries. And the person that he's standing with is one of the family members that he's discussing. He knows it's her. Of course he does. He's part of this thing. So, you know that now. Now listen to what she says. She's one of these people, the family that are doing this. Just listen to what she says about the World Bank. And remember, AIG, her grandfather, Maurice Greenberg.
you can see that you're being pushed in a direction that those you're protesting against want. But if you don't know the game, you can think, yeah, world government, good idea, stop the banks. And you then demand what the bloody banks want.
And you'd be really surprised when you drop the name World Bank, how many people didn't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shocking, really.
So you have figured this out, correct? Remember, this is Sir Richard Branson. Sir. His loyalty is to the Queen. Let's skip ahead to the next person.
It was all in my wallet. Right now I'm a vagrant and apparently I can go to jail because I have no identification.
What happened last night, mate?
It's fucking ridiculous.
What happened last night?
Last night I'm sleeping in my tent and at about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Now, unless you're from Philadelphia like I am, you might not have picked up on this accent here. This is a South Philly, Marcus Hook, Chichester, somewhere around there. That's one of those accents. It's not Jersey, it's not all Philly, it's a little bit outside of Philly. But this is one of the Jackass, MTV Jackass crew. And you're going to be surprised at who he is.
I heard screaming and yelling and all kinds of shit, commotion, people screaming, cops running around in riot gear.
Did you catch that micro-expression? Micro-expression is a small fraction of a second that your face will respond to a question being asked to you, or as you're speaking you'll realize something and you will react to the thought inside of your head and make an expression so quick that you don't even realize you're making it. So let me play it for you again, just to see if you can pick up on it.
I heard screaming and yelling and all kinds of shit, commotion, people screaming, cops running around in riot gear, chasing people. They were smoking cigars, laughing.
Well, the cops were.
The cops were.
Yeah.
And like they're telling us to get out, leave here, and they're gonna get a.
It was such a pain in the ass when we had a window because, you know, we locked the keys in the car.
Yeah, that's Bam Margera from Viva La Bam, his own TV show on MTV, and also from Jackass. Remember him because we're going to talk about him in a little bit. He plays an even bigger role in this.
The time, and then we just have to like break the window. It works out. I mean, when it rains, it sucks, but you get over it.
Here, my wallet, my medication for my PTSD.
See this guy here? He's the brother of the guy that was arrested on the Brooklyn Bridge during the beginning of this event. They have another brother that plays an important role in this event, and I'll talk about him in a moment.
They are people who think they have power, but they have no power whatsoever. They are merely animating a uniform which has the power, which is an extension of the state. And when they take the uniform off or get another job, they have no power. Someone else comes in, takes it on, and the uniform still is the power.
Notice of references to acting as a person puts on the costume or the uniform and he acts like he has power, and then he takes it off and somebody else puts on a uniform and they act like it. Well, he's talking about acting here, and this is a set.
And they're in prison too. I mean, you know, they are themselves, they have children, they have grandchildren, and their kids are going to have to live in the world that they're helping to enforce. And when the penny eventually drops, and it is in some of them, that that's what they're doing. They're going to be pretty horrified. And then there's the other kind of police now, where they use things like biometric testing, which are like job application forms that glean someone's personality. And they're looking for the psychopaths and the narcissists.
See this guy in the background here? You're going to see him in another photograph. The Jefferson Memorial fake arrests with Adam Kokesh. Yeah. You want to doubt that I have a photographic memory for faces? I spot these things all the time. They're all over the place, especially when they're staged events. You can tell and you know that if it's a staged event, they're going to have all their family members and friends and the same individuals in the backgrounds making up the extras.
It's just, I feel like they're just trying to get everyone, scare people.
There are several things I want you to notice in this screenshot. First, the back of his hand. You can clearly see the prosthetic that's been applied to make his hand look swollen. And underneath, you'll see the markings of post-production work done to his pinky to make his finger look bent. This is how he pulls off the claims of arthritis when he plays, of course, David Icke. When he plays Branson, he doesn't have the prosthetic and his hand looks normal. The second thing I want you to notice is the person that he's talking to.
Sometimes one voice comes up as like the more powerful voice.
Notice the hand gestures.
You know, especially when the billions of dollars came.
This is Ryan Dunn's grip for the TV show Proving Grounds, which I exposed earlier. And the third thing I want you to notice is the police officer in the middle of the frame, the rather small police officer. That's Wee Man from Jackass, making another cameo.
Scare people, and they want to cut down the numbers. I don't know. I mean,
well, I think they're doing two things. They're trying to scare and intimidate people, and they're also trying to trigger people to get so freaking angry that
they want martial law.
They want to fight. They want the violence, so that they can then problem, reaction, solution, introduce their martial law. Exactly.
So do you think it's a coincidence that the camera just happens to be set up on the spot where Wee Man is standing right in the background, dead center in the middle of the frame, and he just so happens to be talking to a Jackass member and Tony Greenberg is standing alongside of him? If that just in itself doesn't convince you that David Icke is part of this whole scam, then nothing will.
People, get rid of them, make life really bad for them so that they I can't stand this anymore and they go home. And also trigger other people to start violence, or of course put their own bloody uniforms in civilian clothes to start the bloody violence and claim it's bloody protesters. We've got this real kind of contrast here. Over there is the park where all the protesters have been, and over here is staff, it seems, from Brown Brothers Harriman. This is I mean, if you look at it, look at the size of the frickin' building. Brown Brothers Harriman are one of the major Illuminati banks of the last, well, going back to the 1800s, and they're having their picture taken here. This is the kind of 1% that the people are talking about, and you know, while people are suffering and people are losing their homes and are going into the streets.
You are talking directly to the family members, to the 1%ers, and getting advice from them and broadcasting it like your little propaganda to the rest of the world so they can all get messed up as well as these people are. So, David Icke exposed. And just like all the other fake events that I've been investigating, we got the tie into Pima again. Pima County Graphic Service Department. Mr. David Weber.
It's a damp New York morning. It's November the 16th, and it's one day before the 2-month anniversary of the occupation here in the park. It's down the road from Wall Street, and it's one day after the police raid on the camp and the court decisions that say, yeah, people can come here and protest during the day. But they can't stay overnight, and they can't take anything in there that constitutes. Okay, it's an increasingly wet day in New York. Here we are in the park, and with me is Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change New York, who we met last year when I was here, and he's done a great job and doorsteps famous people and puts questions to them that other people won't do.
You know, Luke, I've often wondered how you were able to get so close to those officials that you give the tough questions to without their security pouncing all over you. So I thought about it for a while and pulled up some pictures of you and looked at your ears to see if I could see traits in somebody who I suspected was your father. Yep. This is why you can get so close to these individuals without getting pounced on. Notice Putin's ears. You notice the lobe of his ear? It's stretched because he's older. Look at Luke's ear. It's the same exact ear. He's got the same traits as his father does, except his lobe is not as stretched because he's younger. Look at Putin's picture when he was younger. Look at that earlobe. It's the same as his son's. And if you couldn't tell, this is a green screen they shot this with. Notice the green haze on the guy's hair on the right-hand side. Not that long ago, I posted a video where I exposed the person by the name of Sonia, Truther Girl. Sonia is a host of a radio show that's online and on YouTube. Her co-host is Karen Truther Girl. Well, just like all the rest of the actors, they took part in dual roles. Her and all her friends played roles in a media event that involved a person by the name of Charles Dyer, a Marine that was accused of raping a 7-year-old girl and happened to be a Oath Keeper. And the founding member of the Oath Keepers is Stewart Rhodes. So we all know that Stewart Rhodes by now, since I've exposed him, I'll let him tell you.
Hi, I'm Assistant Secretary Todd Kyle. For the second year in a row, President Obama...
E. Stewart Rhodes. Get it? He, the steward of Rhodes. He's in charge of the infrastructure for Department of Homeland Security. So you can imagine they weren't too thrilled when I found some shots of Deputy Lawrence Easton getting an award from Commissioner Kelly in New York. So apparently he's a NYPD. Well, that was fine. I got the typical death threats and all the other threats in email. But it wasn't until I posted this image that everything went down, including my website, all my accounts, YouTube account, and all my 240 videos, and 10,000 subscriptions, and 2 million hits. So once they showed that they had a weak spot, I decided to dig further into the Bristol Palin issue. Now remember when I told you to remember Bam from earlier in this video? Well, you remember when Bristol Palin had her baby? And you remember who she had the baby by? Levi Johnston. There you go. Bam is Levi Johnston. So you see the connection between all the Jackass crew members and the events that are going on, and the fact that most of the Jackass crew are not from here. They're from Canada or overseas, like we see with Steve O, who played a number of other parts. As you can see him playing Vandersnoot, and Chelsea Clinton played Holloway, the abducted teen from Aruba. At the same time, her mother was in Aruba too, by the way, on business. Steve-O, like all the rest of the Jackass crew, are very busy. Steve also plays this Marine that just went on trial. And look who his lawyer is. And remember, all the graphics and images that you see that I've used for evidence here, you can download for free from wellaware1.com and do the evaluations yourselves as to who these people are. But let's get back to the case. And of course, knowing that Bristol Palin is Truth Girl Karen, I said, well, I guess Sonia might be Palin. And when you start to dig in deep, you'll see that this is true. She is Tina Fey from Saturday Night Live. Now, most of you go, well, that's crazy, can't be. Well, I'm about to give you the solid proof, 100% undeniable proof. Now, it wasn't until I started getting attacked by this person, Gorilla 1999 on YouTube. As soon as I saw the face, I recognized who he was.
The false prophet from the book of Revelation, the one who will make fire come from the sky in full view of everyone, the one who will perform many false...
But for some reason, I couldn't figure out, well, why would this person be attacking me for the Tina Fey, Sarah Palin, and Truther Girl Sonia? Then I figured it out. I got to look at Tina Fey's supposed husband. So immediately, when I saw that face, I knew exactly who it was. It's not her husband. Even though he also plays Sonia's husband, he's not. And I'll tell you why. When I saw this video of these individuals saying happy birthday to Sonia's husband, it all made sense.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Karen.
This is where it gets good. See, that little kid, he happens to be an actor, so is his mother. See if you recognize this voice.
Hello everyone. Well, I'm stopping back to talk a little bit about my last video I put up about Ron Paul.
I'm bald.
Take off your hat. See this hair? Look at this hair. Stop. You know what? How can I even get any picture of your hair when you act like a G-A-Y-B-O-Y? World with actually manifesting, and how do we do that? So I'm going to give you a 5-step process. I'm going to do that next week. This week, I want to concentrate on these simple things before we move forward. And you will start to manifest things already, so don't get worried for all of you that are like, I want to get to it now. Snippity-doo-dah, snippity-day. My, oh my, I'm looking the bald way. I'm going to look like my mama. But we saw him yesterday. They put like this cap on him, so we got to see what he'd look like bald. He's going to be the cutest bald kid ever. And then we're going to walk around town and tell everyone that he's really sick and dying from cancer so he gets presents. Just kidding. Hey, that's what happened to me. Just kidding, huh?
No, it actually did.
He happens to be an actor that played the part of Christina Taylor Greene's little brother, Dallas Jr., in the Gabrielle Giffords fake shooting. Now, if you see my other videos, you know that I found the over 5,000 plus photographs of this family, and an album inside of it. All those photographs happen to be of these individuals at their relatives in North Carolina. The relative happens to be David Rockefeller Jr. Now, since I know who this child is now, I know who his mother is. I know his mother is actually Morning Mayan. Also, his mother is a family member to the Barbarian, who he's not Sonia's husband. He's actually Sonia's brother-in-law. See, his name is Rick Brickell. And Rick happens to be related to the Gorilla 1999 guy, who also is the guy that plays on the Beverly Hills Housewives as Kyle's sister's boyfriend. So if you haven't put it together yet, you have Sonia's husband, the Barbarian Rebellion, and Tina Fey's husband, and they happen to be the same person as Rick Brickle, who happens to be the relative of Jennifer Greenberg. Who is Tina Fey. And they all just happen to be at the same party as their sister-in-law, Morning Mayan. And let's not forget about the others that happen to be at the same party as well. Morning Mayan's sister, Liz Harmon. This bar mitzvah is for her daughter. Liz plays Jill Rappaport on the Today Show. Andy Cohen from Bravo Network, the same network that has The Housewives of Beverly Hills. The actor that plays Mark Zuckerberg, his mother and his brother. Ellie Vole, as we know, plays Orly Tates, and the author and whistleblower Susan Lindauer. Also next to her is Bob Barker. You might want to go to bobbarker.com and you'll get the answer to why they're trying to instigate everyone into martial law, and the fact that they are all profiting from it. Now these photos are from 2007, so Bob looks pretty good because he's not as old as he says he is. That's to disguise the fact that he's a different person. Arden Vole and her aunt Ellie. Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who also plays Benjamin Netanyahu. Don't believe me, just look at the ear. You'll see for yourself. He also plays Mikhail Gorbachev, but we'll go into that and more on this in another video when we expose more of the government officials. Jennifer Greenberg Sexton's sister, Alyssa Bloomberg, her daughters, and her husband, Kenny Bloomberg, who is the chairman of the Independent Film Association of Southern Arizona, and also we've seen many times in the Occupy Wall Street protests. And of course is the person that was used along with Brandon Lee Pittman as the Loeffner mugshot. Kenny also plays another character on YouTube, and we'll get into him in the next video, but inside his videos you'll see a lot of big names like Angelina Jolie, Christina Applegate, and you'll see what they're up to. The actor that played Cliff on Cheers, and Kelsey Grammer. And you've heard that Kelsey Grammer has a tendency to wear women's clothing. That's the joke that Camille says on Housewives. Well, I guess that story has some legs to it. Kelsey and his girlfriend. Her last name's Khan. Now, you might recognize her from the Occupy Wall Street protests as the pepper spray girl, and the G20 protests as the officer that was with Officer Bubbles. She is also the sister to another well-known person, another Khan, who happens to be married to a Rockefeller. David Rockefeller Jr., as a matter of fact. She plays several well-known parts. Lisa Fithian, Medina Benjamin, Judith Clark, Caressida Dick. Here she is with stepson, presidential candidate Gary Johnson, and his son. The same Gary Johnson that gave me the nasty look at the Occupy Dallas event. And is the same Gary Johnson that plays the role of David Wilcock from the Project Avalon. All you have to do is look at the teeth. Now, if you remember the documentary Press for Truth at 9/11, we have the housewives. All three of them are there at the party. This is again in 2007. Two of them with their husbands, so we know that story is also false. And we also have Ross Perot. Warren Buffett, Tim Whale, the actor that played Gabe Zimmerman in the Gabriel Giffords drill, Marshall Harmon, the person that plays the rancher that Fox News always rolls out when they talk about illegal immigration into Arizona, Vicky Strong Greenberg, daughter of Maurice Strong, married to Michael Greenberg, that is Michael Greenberg, the son of Maurice Greenberg. You might know him as Dallas Green. He's the father of Tony Greenberg and, of course, Jennifer Greenberg, who is Jennifer Greenberg Sexton, and Tina Fey, who is also rumored to be the head of the Mossad, the Israeli CIA. Here he is with Maurice Strong.
Thank you. Yeah, it's you know, that's why my dad, when important men meet my dad, like when Lorne Michaels met my dad the first time, he was like, "Your father is impressive."
Mm-hmm.
And even Alec, he met my dad, Alec Baldwin, was like, "This is your father, huh?" Like something they're kind of adding up, like, "I can't mess with you."
That's right. That's
your
right.
dad will kill me.
Yeah.
It's a great gift.
That's right. No,
Here she is with her 2 daughters. Unlike what she says, she only has 1. She has 2, and she should have another one by now. So her husband, you might recognize him in the documentary Boat Lift for 9/11, and also in the Occupy Oakland as the person that tackled the protester that smashed the bank window, as we know that was also fake as well.
I want this march to remain peaceful.
And what's your name?
My name is Zach.
You got a last name?
Voorhees.
You from Oakland?
I'm from San Francisco.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thank you.
A message to the elite. Our numbers grow in size. You don't know who we are, but we know who you are. We'll be keeping an eye on you from now on. Just remember that.
Explosion.